Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Harris. I'm here to share some content from my book today, Pretendable, The Childlike I. It's available on Amazon.com and on Kindle. So if you like what you read, please go check it out. I'm going to be sharing an exercise with you today that I wrote. Well, first I'm going to share with you the poem that I wrote for the exercise, then I'm going to share the exercise itself. Now, the exercise today is called Spiritwalk. And as you might guess from the title, it is all about going on a walk to find some spirits today. Well, in a sense. You'll get what I mean when I read it out loud anyway. So for some of you, this may be something you already do. For some of you, this may sound completely crazy. This may not be something that you would normally consider out on your normal rambles, but it's going to be exciting. And it is going to help you if you complete it. I guarantee it. So, without further ado, the poem is Circle of Oaks. In the circle of oak trees, pearl-backed leaves, coffee veins coursing, carried to me a faded calling. Their parliament whispered as one. Big sky, so blue and dramatic, grass below, breath on my palms, tickle of sugar ants, my ankle and alpine conquest. Fleeing from other children, the pills of the teachers, special assignments, sports I could never win. The oak trees would hear without judgment. They always understood. Chatter of squirrels on bowing branches, chortle of scrub jays, remembering all I would tell. Looking for gleaming discardings, scraps from my lunchbox. My companions, dryads and fairies abound, drawing me closer, bidding my exodus eternally into their world. The school bell hushed their gentle song, yet wonder and wander, never expelled. A beautiful flock of herons or cormorants or something flying over me here in Watermead Park today. Wonderful. I'm in Watermead Woods. Well, Watermead Park, the woods of in Leicester. Great place, even in the wintertime, very peaceful. Great place to go spirit walking. I'm going to start reading. Please close your eyes, maybe put some of your favorite music quietly to the background, some lo-fi Studio Ghibli vibes possibly, or anything of that nature. Or just some very soft sounding breeze sounds if you're not outside, anything like that, and just chill out. Let's begin. Although I became quite sensitive to source at an early age, it wasn't until I had a few years under my belt that I invested any serious thought into how deep such a connection could truly go. Everything generates and consumes energy as part of the same unified process. It is the same idea to me as God lives in everything, and therefore everything is God's creation. We're a part of everything, and the universe binds everything as one. In that same vein, I am you, and you are me, to a certain extent. I had the perception of it in the back of my mind as a young boy, yet I never really worried about any of it. I just let life be what it was and enjoyed my childhood as best I could, which I would argue is the best approach to living, because the more time we spend querying and second-guessing it, the less time we spend experiencing it. Still, the realization that any house built lives and breathes with the cosmic life force. Any story, poem, or commentary written is pulsing with the energy of its authors, printers, editors, and of course, perhaps most poignantly, its readers, who take it in and process it through their lenses before expressing it in their everyday comings and goings. For every story written, there can be as many interpretations as there are people. The collective intelligence of Source binds this information together and makes it available to all. It is why mountains have contained the knowledge of the childlike I since the first creature climbed to the top of one to survey its surroundings, and rivers and streams carry the whispers of languages long unspoken to mortal ears. When we were children, we were told to use our imaginations and pretend, with many of us later being told not to tell tales and put stock into nonsense. This is impossible. When we enter pretend mode, we're directly tapping into Source. We can then draw upon it by uncovering its secrets, creating based on its templates, and experiencing the full joys of life available to all. You may have heard through the grapevine of spiritual discourse and dialogue the idea of spirit walking, or astral projection even. Shamans of various traditions have championed the practice throughout history, often with the aid of psychedelics. However, you certainly don't need drugs to do it. You're perfectly capable of coming up with all sorts of creative ideas on your own if you don't put up a mental resistance against them. We're going to give it a shot now. There is only one rule for the journey you're about to undertake. Pay close attention to this now, because we often might think this, or we might think this to ourselves, but when it comes down to the actual practice of it, we have a hard time hitting the mark, right? For the purposes of this exercise, nothing is silly, nothing is shameful, nothing is taboo. There's literally nothing that it's between you and the trees, basically. You can think what you want, express what you want. For some people, that's second nature. For other people, that's a real problem. It doesn't necessarily mean you will feel confident in doing it this first time, but just start getting yourself in that mindset if you don't already. If I'm teaching you to suck eggs, and just bear with us and we'll move on, yeah? Now then, for this exercise, everything is plausible and real. You are listening and engaging, asking questions to the powers that be in the hope of receiving answers without judgment. You're about to make your attempt at spirit walking. It's not as complicated or abstract as one might think. You will take a psychic journey down an aspect of Source to extract some useful information and bring it back to this plane of existence. So if you haven't gathered by now, when I talk about Source, which there's a full explanation of it at the beginning and throughout the book, Source is basically, if you think about the Force in Star Wars, it is your, in a very remedial level, but it is your basic connection, your field of energy between every rock, tree, fence, person, everything. And it forms a layer of collective intelligence that we all have the ability to tap into. That means you. We're going to do that now. Begin. For this exercise, when you're grounding, pay special attention to the wandering and liberated aspects of the earth. I should explain that now. You're grounding. It's not something that you necessarily have to do. A lot of people like to do it. If you if you frequent pagan circles, if you happen to be Wiccan, anything like that, you'll be familiar with the concept possibly, or with grounding and shielding, casting a circle, things like that. Christians might just consider it being like consecrating something, blessing something with holy water. You're effectively putting up a psychic barrier, protecting yourself from nasty entities, both real and imagined. It's really easy. All you do is just close your eyes, take deep breaths for as long as you can, and you envision basically the roots coming out of your feet, implanting firmly into the ground beneath you, and just literally acting as an anchor to keep you tied to this physical realm. You'll get what I mean anyway. I'm sure of it. Now, for this exercise, when you are grounding, pay special attention to the wandering and liberated aspects of the earth. The chirping grasshoppers and scuttling spiders, the twitching nose of the mouse. Imagine the flight of a bird with the summer winds in its favor and the very tilt of our planet itself. Perceive and imagine the life force in all things, the energy that radiates outwards and covers everything. Source. Allow your roots to extend from your feet down into the earth and take on the colors of mud and moss. Close your eyes and picture a glimmering strand of silver or gold dangling before you. When ready, connect it to the childlike eye and begin your walk. Your childlike eye, or your third eye, is here. It's somewhere between your sight and your mind, and it is your gateway to all things pretend and imagination. Focus your sight again and begin precisely wherever you are, be it in your home, back garden, a busy cafe, a serene forest, etc. Feel the warmth and life radiating in your blood. Feel it on your skin. Recognize that you are pure energy, and reach out for things nearby as you go. Begin at a subtle pace, maintaining deep and controlled breaths as you go. Let me be clear here. You're physically walking at this point, but your mind is also taking a spiritual walk. So while you're out here walking through the fields or the forests or the city streets, your mind is also going with you in exactly the same direction and acting as a visualization tool for the spiritual world around you, realistically. You are engaged with the strand of source nearest to you, and it manifests itself very closely in the physical realm as we know it. If you were connecting to a higher or lower strand, you would perhaps be required to sit or lay with your eyes closed and travel exclusively on the psychic plane, but that is a more advanced level of spirit walking. Remember, there's no need to rush. Your opportunity is not going anywhere. As you travel on your spirit walk, try to use all your senses as you go along. Run your fingertips across the trunks of trees and plants, rocks and soil, sand and water, anything else you may find. What can you hear within your ears? What can you hear within your mind? Do the smells rekindle memories of childhood? What about the childhoods of a previous life? Relish in them and enjoy the sensations. As you continue your journey, attuned to the spiritual nature of all things, you should eventually begin to perceive the spirits within everything you come across. What do they look like? I always picture the massive oak and pine trees I find as giant, gentle elder spirits, both male and female. They have stood the test of time and watched silently as people fell in and out of love, fought their battles, sat at their ease, or cried below their leaves. They have seen it throughout the ages and know the history of our world better than we ever could. What stories do they tell you? What advice do they offer? How about the rocks? The spirits of which even outdate the trees. What about the spirits of the great mountains that call to you from the distance? The houses, fences, cars, mailboxes, garbage cans, everything else. Revel in their voices and unique states of being. Do not be concerned about finding out direct answers to specific questions. Do not even be worried about asking questions. Just listen, take in, absorb. You're casting a net that is wide here, hoping to discover some incredible things without any need for pressure or worry. Follow your spirit path for as long as you like. But when you start to feel the mental fatigue that comes with such unfettered travel, I would advise you to stop. Pull up your roots and rest, reflecting on what you have discovered and learned. Oops, sorry. There is no point in over-egging it. You will find that most spirits are happy to converse with you, as they have all the time of the gods to chat. When you're finished, it is my sincerest hope that if nothing else, you recognize that you're an integral component of Source. If you did encounter any spiritual entities, I hope you realize that they are always nearby in one form or another. Generally, they're only about halfway there, with one foot in our universe and another in the next. Perhaps one day we will meet them fully on the other side of whatever dimension we sit, or maybe our dimensions run parallel to each other, intersecting at points, and our occupation of space and time is just one of those intersections. What incredible mysteries to contemplate. You are certainly just as much a spiritual entity as they are. You are confined for the moment to a temporal body, but that does not change your spiritual nature. Imagine then that many of them may look right back at you, wondering what on earth you are and what you can teach them. Now, for a quick note on an uncomfortable subject, there is, of course, the possibility when astral projecting that you may encounter malevolent entities. Just as in our world, so it is across dimensions. Things are looking to prey on those who are hurting, vulnerable, and in general, people who are prone to negative thoughts and feelings. If you encounter something frightening or questionable, you are always in control. You can set a firm boundary by refusing them access, not giving them any acknowledgement, and traveling on your way. Only those spirits we invite to converse with us may truly enter our psyche and have influence. They will offer temptations. It is up to you to dispel them. Only your hidden temptations to act out of negativity will allow them the chance to do you harm. All in all, your experience with this should hopefully be a positive one. When you start living by the active realization of your connection with Source, the harmony you begin to feel is ecstasy. Now you see, there's homework. No! Hell yeah. Study up. Right, this one's called Recollection. Describe one or more spirits you may have encountered on your journey. What did they look and sound like? What sorts of things did they say to you, if anything? If you didn't meet any evident spirits, what kinds of ideas did you have along the way? What did you discover? Did you have any big revelations as you walked along? If not, what did you think about it? Write it in your journal along with anything you would like to explore further on your next spirit walk. This can be a loose brainstorm of your thoughts and feelings on what you experienced, what you might have gotten out of it, and your plans for the next time you go spirit walking. That's it. Amazing. So, Pretendable, the childlike eye. It's chock full of content like this. It's got 9 chapters. It covers 8 psychic elements, and the last chapter is a bonus. You've got earth, water, air, fire, light, shadow, lunar, and time. And each one of these has got several exercises, and they're all meant to be just gentle ways of reconnecting with your inner child, reconnecting with your imagination. You know, obviously some of you are going to hear what I'm saying here and you're going to think it sounds cuckoo. You don't have to take any of it literally. It's pretend. The whole point of the book is we're pretending, right? So if you're Christian or Muslim or whatever faith you have or don't have, if you're strictly scientific and an atheist you consider yourself or whatever, just bear in mind that you are allowed to just pretend and use that imagination freely. Some of us never learned to do that as kids, but that doesn't mean we can't do it now. At the end of the day, I don't think it's ever too late. Me, if you can't tell, obviously, I've been away with the fairies and in outer space around the corner a few times ever since I was a young boy, so, there's no point in lying about that. But, this book isn't for everybody. It isn't for everybody and everybody's problems. It's not meant to be a hard and fast self-help book, a rigid, this will change your life sort of gimmick. I'm really not about that. What I would think of as like a headset guru. That has its time and place. This is really just for people to just take a chill out and just kind of have little gentle brainstorms and gentle sort of ideas just to reclaim some peace for themselves and maybe for those around them. And we forget to do it a lot of the time, especially in Western society where we're nonstop. Even the whole mindfulness thing is commercialized now. And I'm included in that, which is why I want you to go on to the Kindle store and purchase this book to your electronic Kindle reading device for £1 Great British pounds 99 and 2 United States of America freedom dollars and 99 freedom cents. And in Australia, whatever they're charging you down there in the terms of very expensive dollars, but still very good to read on the beach in Australia in your budgie smugglers. And that's where we're at. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that usual YouTube stuff. And please, if you did the exercise, let me know how you got on in the comments. I'd love to know what you discovered and your ways of doing it and any other suggestions. Y'all have a blessed day now. S.A. Harris out.